Hello and welcome to our The Dragon Prince Spoilercast for Book 3, Sun. We're going to get in-depth here. I'm Dan.
I'm Olga.
And what did you think?
I really love this season. It felt like the most grown-up season, I think, of the show so far, which, you know, as someone who is
an
adult, I'm so afraid of saying that. But yeah, someone who's like ready for some more mature themes, because it's not like the show ever really shied away from them. It's just like, now's the time.
They seem to grow, I feel like, as creators every season to me.
Yeah.
I think that you could argue, if you wanted to, that Book 2, I think, might be better than this. Overall, I think Book 3 is the best so far. It had a couple bumps along the road that we'll talk about, but it has this thing about it that I can't even really it has that same thing that Avatar has, and that I personally think Korra never quite got. I just feel like love from the show.
Yeah.
And even when they're annoying me with choices or whatever, it's like I care about everyone in this cast so much, and I care about the world they created, and I just want to exist in it.
Yeah.
They've developed that. Like, season 1, I think, was a really good start, but it was clear that, like, they were figuring things out a little bit.
And it still suffered from some filler.
Yeah. And I think season 2, they certainly stepped up the pace, but this is the one that, like, really felt, like, consequential in a number of ways.
Yeah.
And where the characters really grew up themselves.
And this season also was able to, like, reference the past 2 seasons in ways that just made sense and felt good. It's the benefit of time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, it has that Avatar thing that I love so much, which is that, like, we can have a big battle and bring back people from all of these past things that might have seemed like a throwaway person here or there, but now, you know, they come together and it feels like a living, breathing world.
Yeah. It's just heartwarming. Honestly, what you said about the show just being love.
Yeah.
It's so true for me too.
And there's no one that's like, oh, there's that annoying guy again. I wish they'd drop him. Like, you know, there are a few like jokes or whatever that I'm like, I wish they may have toned that down a little bit, but there's no character that I like see as grown when they come on screen, you know, like.
Yeah.
So as far as this podcast goes, obviously full spoilers. We are starting off with talking about our highlights, like what we loved about the season, things like that. Then we're going to go into our critiques. I have this whole amazing outline. And then we're going to sort of end off with talking more about the cliffhangers and what's to come.
In a year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, we got 2 seasons in 2019.
We did. Yeah. It's just like so hard when all I want to do is binge this show. And we do. And then I'm like, but more.
I needs it.
It's honestly one of the few shows that I really, really am like sad when it's done.
Me too. All right. Highlights. The first thing I wrote here, we kind of talked about a little bit already, was I wrote the tone of wholesomeness without childishness and the large, lovable cast. All of the core characters really progressed in lovable ways. Rayla, Callum, Sauron had some amazing stuff we'll get to. But like just everybody coming together.
Yeah.
But the next thing I want to talk about is the creature design, because I think that this was the best season for that.
So good.
We got so many cool looking, whether it be some of the new elves like Nyx and stuff like that, or the guy at the end, the mage, the sky mage at the end, I thought looked pretty cool.
Yes.
Runan's husband looked pretty cool. So there's a lot of cool designs there, but then a lot of the creatures.
Oh, so awesome looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, in particular, the like camel that Nyx takes across the desert.
Yeah.
And
he's dope.
Oh my god, it's like a giraffe camel.
I love the camel.
And I love the saddle piece to it. Reminds me of Appa. And also the like feathered lion,
flying lion beast thing
that the Sunfire elves have. Like that thing is so cool. I want a toy of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in theory doing a great job with like
building things to love.
Building things to love and sell.
I have no idea of how well this show is doing. And it's really hard on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
It's like, obviously, like if you go on their Twitter, like there's tons of fan art and all that stuff, and I'm sure that's gonna go to bonkers degree now that we have feathered Callum with Rayla. But yeah,
I'm not going into that corner of the internet. I'll be honest.
There's clearly a fandom. It's just hard to tell how large it is and if it's hitting with kids or not. Like, it's so hard for me to even understand what it is like to be a kid who has Netflix.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how often do you even try a new thing as opposed to just watch what you already love?
Thing.
Like,
what we need to do is wait for your niece to get like a couple years older and then be like, here, we like these shows. Do you?
And if you don't, you're a bad person.
Now
and
you're being punished. Until we manipulate you into being our pet.
Jeez. It's creature design.
Again, it comes back to the world building and the colors and I honestly really do like the animation. I don't know if they changed it, but it seemed less jarring to me than like season 1.
I did not notice the frame rate nearly as much this season, and I don't know if that's me getting used to it or it's them changing it. I think it's them changing it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, I really enjoyed that. I know. I'm just going to keep saying I love this.
We have some critiques we'll get to.
Yeah, I know.
But first, let's talk about the romance.
Yes.
Callum and Rayla. Radum.
Huh. Is that the official?
Raylum.
Raylam.
Calla.
Oh.
Supercalifragilistic.
I remember back in the day when I was like, ooh, Callum and Claudia. Now I'm like, screw her. She's evil. Rayla and Callum forever. They're so cute.
Yeah.
They're just like adorable.
They just continue to be amazeballs. I just love both of those characters so much, and seeing them be cute together
and support each other, but also like not know how to kiss each other and like be those awkward dopey people.
And her like grumpiness,
and she made the first move. Like, didn't see that coming either. Good for her.
Well, and I also appreciate, like, there were so many things they could have dragged out that they didn't. Where it's like, obviously the way we left off in season 2, it was kind of clear that she had feelings, but it wasn't clear yet where Callum stood.
Yeah.
And they could have had, like, her kiss him, and then he'd be like, oh, I don't know. And then it takes, like, the whole rest of the season for him.
No, it was like, boom,
boom. It was like, oh, well, that kiss, that was some elf magic right there.
It was just adorable and sweet, and I loved the little blushes that happen.
Yeah.
It was just a good time.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why when I Googled Dragon Prince earlier today, it was just 30 different videos of clips of Rayla and Callum.
The thing is, at the end of the day, I love Rayla, especially so much that I'm like, whatever she wants.
Whatever that girl wants.
Elf girl.
If she wants her man feathered, then she can get it.
Get it. This is going off the rails. Anyway.
I do hope they talk about, like, in the next book, about, like, the taboo aspect of, like, elf-human. Like, they were very positive about it at the end here with the Dragon Queen being like, oh, I never...
Everyone's come together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like if she's already kind of banished by her people, then at that point, if they're going to let her back, it's not going to be like, but you're with a human, so never mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really see.
Well, but it's not even just, I don't, it's not necessarily that I need them to be like, oh, we banish you about it. More is that, like, people being like, come on, like, are you really, like, you really think there's a future here?
Yeah.
It's never going to work in the long term. He'll always end up blah, blah, blah. Like,
at the end of the day, though, like, the fact that he's now getting so advanced with his mage skills it's like, well, he's no ordinary human. And the fact that also Ezrin has the connection with all of the creatures of Zadia, like, he's no ordinary human, too. If anything, I want to figure out what's going on with their mom.
I wonder if they're ever going to explain Ezrin, his abilities, really. And I don't know that I want them to.
I guess not, but if there's some kind of lore about, like, there were elves in their family or something. Like, I mean, also now Amaya is friends with the Sunfire. Like, I don't know.
They're just the good people.
Maybe that's all it is, and it's just like they're good, and that's why they are good with other people.
That are good.
But I'd also be happy if they continued to flesh out, like, the history of Zadia and Catullus.
You mentioned the Callum getting so proficient with his magic and stuff. That was something that I'm both interested in, but also was a little thrown off by.
Mm-hmm.
In like the last episode, I think it was, he just suddenly is like, yeah, I can do the lightning spell easily now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess you did like connect with the Sky Arcanum, and maybe that just unlocks everything of your spell for that. But like the fact that he never tried to use it throughout the whole rest of the season made me think that he didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Like he didn't try to do anything against the dragon at the beginning. He didn't try to do anything against the snakes that they were fighting. Like yeah. So that just felt kind of out of nowhere. And then on a more interesting, like positive note, like I am interested to see whether he's ever going to learn any of the other kinds of magic.
I feel like maybe the Sky Arcana is like
his.
I would actually kind of be upset if he turns into an avatar.
Yeah, at the same time, he did do the moon magic to see about Rayla's parents and stuff. So
I guess you're right. I forgot.
And he does have the block with all the things. So I don't know. I don't feel like I need it because obviously, like he can do so many different things.
He's a feather boy now. Like, what more do you want?
I will say, like, as much as I like goof on the feather boy, like him jumping off the cliff after her was great. Yeah.
No, it felt appropriate. Again, if the season was longer, could things make more sense?
Yeah.
Could we get more character development about him being like, I'm uncertain or whatever, or him trying and failing at times or whatever? They have like precious, not even precious minutes, precious seconds that in things like this,
well,
it's like a nitpick, but it's also
to a certain degree they're creating their own problem though, right? Because I think the reason that they have those precious seconds is because they're like, I know where we want to be at the end of season 3.
That's fair.
And I feel like they have things planned out very specifically. My other question is like, how much is it that things are planned out versus how much is it like we want to leave it in place because we don't know if Netflix is going to renew us or not?
That's perfectly fair. Yeah,
because it did stick out to me how much of an ending this season was.
Yeah.
Obviously, they leave the cliffhangers, but like the fact that they even had them say "I love you," and that, I love the romance stuff, but I feel like they like burnt through almost all of it in this season, and so I'm like,
they went from a first kiss to I'm in love with you in a few episodes.
Yeah, and like on a show like this, comparing it to things like Korra and Avatar and stuff, it's like the fact that they kissed that many times, and then we're only supposedly halfway through the series or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, so does that mean that they like were doing it just in case, or is that like, is this not gonna last? And so they were like, I don't know. It's interesting.
I hope that it is more of a hedging our bets just in case kind of thing, because I don't really want to play the game of like, and then they break up for a season or there's like a competitor to their love. I mean, again, you have like Claudia still is an active player.
I'm okay with any of that, honestly.
Yeah.
As long as they end up together in the end, like we've had really cute stuff. So if they have to like actually deal with some complex relationship stuff, as long as it's not like annoying stuff.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. That's why I was talking about like people like the stigma stuff potentially playing an interesting role in it, and people like maybe getting in Rayla's head a little bit about him or whatever.
Maybe. But once the Dragon Queen's like, aw, it's a little difficult for that.
Yeah. I don't know. She's stubborn. He's a teenage boy. Mischief happens.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, we spent a lot of time talking about
but
how
they're
great
beautiful.
they are.
So let's talk about Rayla getting ghosted. We had the whole episode where we're in the moon caverns.
Yes.
Moon City land.
Yes.
And I thought that was an interesting choice.
It was a little creepy, a little sad. Yeah. You know.
I think that
this really,
we talked last season how we liked season 2 a lot, but honestly, that's like our biggest problem. Honestly, was probably that Rayla really took us aside, took a backseat to Callum, and I think this season, like for Callum, it was mostly their romance was his arc, but he really was the focus. I think here.
I appreciated that. Yeah.
The one issue that I took with the ghost episode was that I felt like. And they handle it kind of well later in the season, but I felt like things should have felt more complex for Callum there. They were so focused on her when everybody was upset and mourning the people who killed his father. Yeah, and
he just kind of skates over that for the most part.
And I really love the complex discussion they have when he finds the stone of the Dragon King.
Yes.
Like, that was awesome.
So that's where it happened. Yeah. Like, I feel like, again, if maybe there was more time or if they were like, well, we were going to have this conversation anyway. Yeah. And maybe if they balance season 2 more, then I think season 3 would have been more balanced too in terms of who got like the development. But again, this was really like Rayla's season. So
but
I mean, not that other people didn't.
I do want to say that moment of them talking about the complexity of, he's like, what am I supposed to feel here?
That was
like
incredible.
That, I think, I mean, you talk about maturity, like people think, oh, a mature show, like it means there's going to be blood and violence, or there's going to be like sex or whatever.
No.
Like that is maturity.
Yes.
Having that discussion of him being like, I hate him and I feel bad for him, and I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah.
And like actually accepting and talking about the cycle of violence and like being true about that it happened. Like, not like...
I know this comes later in your thing as a criticism.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense to jump to it now.
Okay, yeah.
And that is the whole, like, Ezrin as king.
Yep.
And his goals as king are also to, like, break the cycle.
Yeah.
And he more directly says, like, I am not going to be a part of this. I am choosing peace. I'm choosing...
my father was great and this and that, but I'm not going to be him.
An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that idea. So basically, it's like, all right, you have that being very easily spelled out with Ezrin, and then you have this more mature discussion with Callum and Rayla happening in the shadow of his stonified corpse.
So you didn't actually say what we were going to critique about Ezrin, but maybe we just come back to that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to critique Ezrin. How about that little teaser?
I think Sauron was a total MVP this season.
Oh my God.
His development.
I mean, they set that up, with his injury in season 2, but now having it actually like lead to true emotional growth.
I think they did a fantastic job within the season because, and we talked when we were walking, was like, it didn't feel like they were just redoing Zuko because he's such a different person than Zuko.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of the dumb guy who's emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, he's strong and he's a hero and he cares. But even if he makes mistakes and he bumbles and he isn't the smartest guy, he knows what feels right.
Yeah.
And he has that, and Claudia doesn't.
He has honor.
And he has a number of amazing moments. And I mean, the biggest, again, talking about maturity stuff, having them have the moment, even if it was a fake out in the long run, but having him attack, kill Viren to save Ezrin.
Think he's killing his father. I was shocked because I don't associate the show with bloodiness. Like, as a matter of fact, it seemed like they went out of their way to not be bloody.
Yeah.
And to have that happen, it was like, this is his pinnacle.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, so again, it comes back to like me not totally understanding what the rules are as far as Netflix goes, because I'm like if this was still on Nickelodeon or something, right? I would say, oh, the reason they were allowed to have blood there is because 5 seconds later they're going to prove that it wasn't even a real person.
I think that's still why.
Yeah, I don't know how much control Netflix exerts over these things. I
don't know, but it's still a show directed at kids and at families.
There's a reason they turned the armies into giant lava monsters.
Yes. And that way no bloody arrows are going through their heads or whatever. It's not a battle of the bastards or anything.
Meanwhile, I would think we both really enjoyed Amaya and her son and BFF, Janai.
Yeah. First of all, Janai's character design, especially when she goes like...
Hulks out.
Yeah, basically. Like, she's awesome. She is so cool, badass. They're both badass, and their friendship is awesome.
Yep.
Did it happen a little too quickly? Whatever. I don't care. I ship it.
Friendship? Is it friendship?
There we go.
That's the question.
I don't want it to be friendship.
I'm fine either way, honestly.
I know.
But like, come on.
Well, I made this joke, and I'm kind of serious where I'm like, I stan a poly couple with her and her interpreter and Janai, and just be like, yeah, let's do this.
See, now the interpreter, I want to just be her buddy.
Okay.
Janai.
They have some chemistry too, though.
She's hot,
She is hot. Good one.
Yeah, I mean, they're great stuff there. I also really liked her interpreter friend. I thought she was cool.
Yeah, again, a little like the awkward nerd, bumbling person. Also really great, cute character design.
Yeah.
I love the like variations even within the elf communities.
Yeah.
Like there's no just like one style to it.
Yeah. And then another thing I really liked was the dynamic between Averos and Viren, and how they did continue, especially in the flashbacks and stuff, to show that Viren does have some positive intent. He's like very like they're doing a very good job of making him a complex villain, and then sort of having that like true devil on the shoulder pushing him in a way that like it almost like Averos is almost like an embodiment of like his own arrogance. And I am very interested to see what they do with Averos going forward, which we'll talk about at the end here. But yeah, I and it was interesting also when I look at the Wikipedia and I was getting people's names and stuff. It was like, oh, he uses dark magic and regular magic, and I was like, oh, that's obvious. But also, I hadn't really thought about that.
Right.
He's the only elf that we've seen use dark magic.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that yes, Averos is really interesting and creepy and more just like concretely villainous.
Yeah.
Instead of a devil on the shoulder, he is a devil in the ear and in the eye, which was disgusting. Oh
yeah, I forgot how much that upset you.
I did not enjoy that. I don't like eye stuff. Like, I can't wear contacts. I know, bad. Eyes are bad.
Eyes are bad, kids.
No, Olga. My quote, my tagline. But the thing is with Viren is like, yeah, he has this arrogance, but it's not just in flashback that he shows his humanity. It's literally even as they're going to war.
Yeah.
He's still claiming, oh, it's for the greater good of humanity.
Yeah.
And he believes it.
Yeah.
Like, he lets his arrogance get in the way, but
he's kind of like
so righteous in it.
Yeah. He's kind of like if Tony Stark had a devil in his ear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like someone who has a bit of a god complex, has a bit of arrogance, but thinks he's doing everything for the right reasons and could be like, I honestly think Viren's ultimate fate is to sacrifice himself to save people.
Yeah. He has to make that choice. If he's saying, I mean, he even says in this season of like to Claudia and Sauron being like, I would have sacrificed myself for the greater good, but his maturity and growth would be not to sacrifice himself necessarily for the greater good, but to do that for like the people he loves. Because that's something he
or even to see like the error of his way. Like, if I think it would be a bigger deal if he did it to save like Ezrin.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's
like,
a good
or
point.
Zim even.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Speaking of Zim, I think Zim and Bait both had really cute moments this season, and I think it was their most like actually like character-y season.
Yeah. Bait was
Zim.
like not necessarily a highlight in past seasons. I kind of found him a little distracting and like the same jokes over again.
Yeah.
And here it's like, wow, look, even the creatures have character growth.
Zim especially, awesome stuff. Some really sad, cute stuff. Yeah.
Him with his mommy. Like, oh my God. My heart. My little girly heart.
And then the last two highlight stuff I'm just gonna say, we'll hit on them later, but like the final battle had a lot of really cool moments. Cliffhangers I'm really all about, but we'll get back to that. So let's talk about the critiques we have.
Yes.
So this is something that I foresee us, or at least me, saying every season, which is hit or miss comedy. It kind of is what the show's comedy is for me, which is that the comedy probably is the most childish piece of the show, I would argue. And sometimes it hits and they find a good balance. And other times I'm like, do we have to have a farting flower? Like I don't know. Everybody's going to be different on these things. But I feel like they've hit the jelly tart thing like 1,000%.
They need to be done.
Yeah.
Like they need, that absolutely has to be done.
Moving on. I want to talk about Soul Regum, who's the dragon from the beginning of the season.
The blind former king of the dragons.
Former king. So I think it was awesome how the season started with seeing the history there. I thought that was going to lead to a lot more talk about the past, which we didn't get into, and it ultimately left him feeling like a weird use of a character that had been, one of the main posters for the show, who was the major cliffhanger for last season.
Yeah.
He basically was a filler episode.
Yeah.
It was.
How are we going to get past this mini boss?
And I was even saying, like, it even could have been just like a not even sentient dragon, and the episode would have played out pretty similarly. I thought it was a fun episode. I liked his character and his backstory and everything. And I do think we'll see him again. No pun intended. But yeah, the fact that he didn't even show up like at the end of the season or anything like that, like I just felt like a strange thing to just kind of take this big character and make him into a obstacle.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone is going to be an antagonist of like the unity between humans and elves and dragons, it's gonna have to be him.
Yeah.
Because he's like been so, no pun intended, burned by this in the past. I know. But I mean, like with the Queen of the Dragons being so like accepting of everyone, like it makes sense that the former King of the Dragon, who could in theory pose like a threat and maybe like cause division amongst them.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like we don't know what like most of the elves think about this idea, right? Only a few of the types of elves are there.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
And it is like a critique, even though we're fans of the battle.
Yeah.
Why were there so few elves?
Yeah, why didn't more people come to defend the king of the, Prince of the Dragons and
the queen?
Yeah, you could argue maybe the other elves are much farther away, right? We mostly got sun elves that were close by.
But not even the moon shadow elves showed up.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, we banished the people that we thought abandoned our queen, but they're not supplying more moon shadow elves.
Because that's a really good point. I'm actually surprised we didn't see more of the moon shadow elves, especially when they'd already set up that one character whose name I always forget. And
Renan's husband?
Yes.
I've forgotten now.
Yeah. The fact that they didn't bring them back is strange to me, because I think the real answer for the majority of the rest of the elves is, well, we have books named after them and we don't want to reveal them yet, really. Even though, obviously they were revealed at like the very first episode or whatever, but like we won't want to delve into those characters yet.
Yeah. And even so, we only have Nyx and the Sky Mage, whose name I also have forgotten, as representatives of their people too.
Well, let's talk about Nyx. That was the next person on my list.
Yes.
I think Nyx is really awesome when it comes to design. I think the actress did a great job of breathing life into the character. I thought that her whole side story was pretty clumsy. It was a total filler stuff. It was filler that, like, overall I was okay with, because I loved her design, I loved the Camilla design, and it really was important for Rayla and Callum's romantic development. But she was like, he wasn't even like a good con man. Yeah. Like it was so clear what she was gonna do, and like wasn't like in any way smart from the get-go, that I guess like I kept thinking she had like a plan within a plan, and it never turned out to be true.
No, she wasn't that clever.
Yeah.
She and again, her comedy was very hit or miss.
I hope and believe that she will come back.
Yes.
I also think we'll probably be in the minority of people who had an issue with her. I think that she will be a fan favorite.
Yeah.
And I hope that when she comes back that they do a better job with her.
Yeah.
I don't hate her by any means.
No.
I just think that they could have done a better job there.
I agree. Yeah. I don't think she needed like so much screen time.
Yeah. I want to knock out this other one, which I'll say pretty quick, because overall I loved Rayla's arc. I do think she kind of got like a deus ex machina that like kind of like finished her arc for her in a weird way, right? Because she got to this point of like, I'm going to stay behind, like what my family represents or whatever, it has such an effect on me. And then mostly the way she gets over that is, well, what you thought happened wasn't what happened, as opposed to like what a real mature arc would be is I'm going to learn to move beyond it.
Yeah, like it happens, but I am going to do so. Like,
I'm not going to be doomed to, live in their shadow or like, not even, it's not about repeating their mistakes. Right. It's about like, I'm not going to let their mistakes define who I am.
Right.
Like, and
which is exactly what's happening. Maybe here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what happens with Ezrin and Callum.
Yeah.
Their father's mistakes don't define them. So in some ways, it's kind of like, well, isn't it a good thing that they're not using the same kind of thing with all three of them and all of their parents?
But Ezrin and Callum's parents are way less important to who they are as characters, I would argue. It is, I'd say the biggest, most important thing about Rayla's character is all built up around that because my parents did this thing, they're cowards, everybody saw me this way,
and they think I'm just like them.
Yeah, and it's a huge part of what makes her insecure about herself and not trust herself, and that the fact that it's like, oh, well, actually that didn't happen, so feel good about yourself. It's like it's a kid's show kind of thing to do, in my opinion. At the same time, I do think that they did do a good job of like reinforcing that she is a hero this season, and I think that she believes in herself, not just because of this.
And it gives the added dimension of now it's not just her like adoptive dad that she's going to maybe try to free from the coins. It's also her parents.
Yeah. And then, we talked about the battle sort of fizzling. We were both taken aback by the fact that the battle was done, which is like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You're not doing the battle well if the people are surprised that it was over.
And they're in handcuffs. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some fast forwarding there.
Yeah. And then the biggest thing that you alluded to earlier is Ezrin.
Yes.
So they set up this whole, at the end of last season, start of this season, it's all about like he's going to be king. King Ezrin having to deal with these tough decisions and do. He has to grow up and all that stuff. I think the first episode where he assumes kingship was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job of him having to deal with some complexities. They did a good job of, I don't know, it was a solid start to what I thought was going to be most of his season of him being king.
Yep.
And then the next episode, he stops being king.
He abdicates.
Yeah. And it just...
And then goes into a dungeon. Yeah.
And the biggest thing is he trades places with Viren. There's
so much that could have happened between point A and point B.
The mental gymnastics to be able to, feel like I understand his logic or, anybody else would back this logic. It takes a lot of mental gymnastics for me to be on board with this choice. And on top of that, it just happens so quickly. We don't have him have a real discussion with anybody about it because it's all about the big reveal moments of, oh my God, he's going in jail and Viren's
a big reveal that is just shocking for shock's sake and unexpected is not really a well-earned reveal.
Yeah. It seems like such a clearly stupid choice that by not going in depth about the reasoning and really having discussion, it just makes him seem stupid. And also it just feels like weirdly rushing things when it was literally last episode setting him up doing this.
Yeah. Literally 2 episodes in a row. Yeah. That make no sense. It's literally I have a proposition for you.
Yeah. Give up everything and you save a few hundred people.
Maybe, and also they show 6 of them.
Yeah.
Again, the broken link thing was cool.
Yeah,
but again, it's it feels like they came up with these cool ideas and we're just how do we just get
where we need to go as quickly as possible.
Because also it's not going to matter.
Yeah. He's in order to save these 300 people, I will let an evil traitor villain become the king because, of course, he's going to do positive things. Yeah. And then they're just clearly going to go off and kill a bunch of people in Zadia. So, you supposedly care about Zadia too. So you're just trading lives, basically.
It's just the idea of I refuse to engage in this. But here you go. I'll let a guy lead who I know is going to engage in this. But I said I wouldn't engage in this. So it's not. It's I don't understand. I just still don't understand that reasoning.
And it's also just having these, people just completely manipulate him and he doesn't even remotely realize that he's being manipulated. Yeah. And I feel like at the end, you're supposed to take it he did the right thing or whatever. And I'm no. He just completely played in their hands and circumstances turned out somewhat favorably, just they happened to. He did not in any he showed bravery, but he did not show intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was more let's facilitate Sauron's arc through this and other things. And I'm if anything, Queen Anya should have shown up earlier instead of showing up as a reveal in the final battle for help. Yeah. She should have shown up and helped him maintain peace among the humans by not engaging.
And again, it's it starts leading to all these other questions where I'm well, why didn't Viren have her assassinated? She was the one that was most annoying to him. Right. What even happened? Why wasn't she involved when all the other armies were meeting up? I don't know.
Why wasn't her kingdom threatened and only
well, they were in the way, I guess.
Yeah, right? I guess you're right. They're the last ones there. Yeah, we still have so many questions, and the answer is really just because.
Yeah, and then the other question is, are all of the armies of Katalis just dead flaming zombies now for the rest of forever? I don't know. Anywho's let's talk about the cliffhangers, which I think we did enjoy.
We like those.
We have the cocoon.
Yes.
Of Avaros.
So what do you think? Is he going to be born out of that cocoon? Is he going to be his caterpillar?
I don't think. I think he will get a real body.
Mhm.
I don't think he will have his full powers yet. I
That
think
makes
he'll
sense.
be at like a medium level. Like I think he'll be at like Viren level, but he won't be at like God tier
Which
level.
he probably was.
Yeah.
Because he clearly did something to the Sunfire Elves
Yeah.
queen,
Clearly-
former queen, other
clearly
former
wasn't-
queen.
Clearly was imprisoned for a reason. And
Also, where is he?
where he's in a coin. No, he's in a mirror.
Well, I think that's just
Yeah.
a portal.
Yeah. If we're talking about the cocoon, right?
Mhm.
Is he no longer going to be in that place anymore? Like, did he officially escape?
Or is he just projecting?
Oh, yeah, or is
like,
he-
well, the way he was like fake riding a horse next to Viren.
Yeah, but I feel like the caterpillar is a physical thing.
Yeah.
That is becoming another physical thing.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Or is it just giving him a physical body with which to do things himself and not
Yeah.
have to rely on
It's interesting.
Viren
I'm
as
having
much?
so many Voldemort parallels here in my brain as far as like.
Nagini.
Well, I didn't even think about that, honestly.
Oh.
I'm thinking more about like, at first I'm having to possess Quirrell, and then they did a spell to like give me like a rudimentally like creepy little baby body, but I'm not like my full self, and then he needs to be like fully revived to get his full powers back. So I think we're gonna get in like a middle ground here, but he has to be pretty strong now because he is the main threat going forward.
Yeah.
Um,
The important thing is he looks like a butterfly. And that also leads to the question of what's Claudia going to be doing during this?
Yeah, so obviously he's in deep dark doo-doo.
She is probably the most powerful
Yeah.
dark mage
Yeah.
that they've ever had. I mean, she brought someone back to life. She
Yeah.
brought him back.
If we have the two main villains be Claudia and Averos,
Mm-hmm.
Callum can't fight both of them. Rayla can't really do much. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Because I feel like ultimately it makes sense for the final battle to maybe be between Callum and Claudia because of their history.
Right, and also the mage against mage.
Yeah, but
thing.
maybe it's going to end up being Rayla versus Claudia as like the two romantic people for Callum, and Callum's fighting Averos.
Averos.
But like,
Maybe.
I just, we need to give Rayla something else going forward because she can't do a whole lot with these knives that can't actually pierce through people. And I just want her to have a
Good
little
for
bit
climbing
more.
things.
Like, I don't want her to be a mage, but I
Yeah.
want her to somehow be leveled up because she seems like she's lagging behind. At
She
this
needs
point.
to be like, I mean, she's not a bad fighter.
Yeah.
But she needs to, like, I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
become a little bit more ruthless.
Yeah.
Like,
And I want to see
I don't
more
know.
of the moon stuff.
All right.
All right.
Wow.
Any last words? Take your final breath.
I just really love this show.
It's dope.
I just really love it.
Yeah.
And for all of the things that I find like minutely annoying, it's so worth it.
Yeah.
And it really just warms my heart in
Yeah.
a way that
I can't
a
wait.
lot of things
Yeah.
don't.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching our review. If you want more Dragon Prince videos, let us know. I am not totally adverse to talking about every single episode at some point. So let us know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and what's a good outro? Crazy wing.
Bye, fella humans. Human fellas.